My name is Fran Slayton, author of When the Whistle Blows, published by Philomel Books, a division of Penguin Young Readers Group. My book is about Jimmy Cannon, who's a boy growing up in the 1940s in a rural West Virginia railroading town. And it's about the adventures he has every Halloween between the ages of 12 and 18 as he's sort of coming of age in this town. He loves steam trains. He wants to be a railroader. All of his family has been working on the railroad since way back when his family came over from Ireland back in the 1850s. And he thinks he will too, but the economy is changing. And times are changing, and so his town and his family's changing too. And it's about what he does to deal with all that and the decisions he makes as a result. Every time I go to jump on a steam train as it chugs its way through Rollsburg, every time I throw out my hands to grab the rusty metal rungs and haul myself up onto the side of one of them black coal cars, hoisting my knees up over its churning, screeching wheels, every single time I jump on a train, my heart thumps even noisier in my ears than the clanking of the old iron horse I'm hopping up onto. I love steam trains. I love living in a town that's chock full of them. I love being on them, being anywhere near them. They're as much a part of my life around here as the mountains, or breathing. Jimmy's father is the foreman of the railroad, and he and Jimmy don't always see eye to eye. My dad's the foreman of the railroad here in Rollsburg, and he doesn't want me nowhere near the trains. Can you believe that? He says they're a dying breed, says there's no future in them. But I think he's the one that's the dying breed. The steam trains will be around forever, but my dad? Well, probably the best way to describe my dad is to say that his birthday is tomorrow, Halloween, or as he calls it, All Hallows Eve, the Day of the Dead, or really, the day the dead come back and haunt the living. You know, trick us, confuse us, scare the crap out of us. It's a heck of a day to be born on, really, but I've got to say that as far as I can tell, it suits Dad pretty darn well. He has different Halloween adventures. Some are with his buddies in the platoon, as he calls them. It's during World War II. And some are Halloween, just Halloween pranks. Others are about championship football games. There are robbers, there are dead bodies in the book. So a lot of adventure. And as he goes through each of these adventures, he learns a little bit more about his old man, his father, who belongs to a secret society. I'm really proud of When the Whistle Blows because in many ways it's a tribute to my father, the real Jimmy Cannon. When the Whistle Blows is fiction, but it was inspired by true stories my father told me when I was a child about his adventures growing up in Rollsburg, West Virginia in the 1940s. Rollsburg was and is a real town, and back then the B&O Railroad was its primary employer. When the train engines switched from steam to diesel, it had a huge negative economic impact on the town. My dad had to make the choice whether to try to stay and get by or leave and find his future away from the hometown he so dearly loved. My dad's father actually was the foreman there, and his name was W.P., just like Jimmy's father in my book. In reality, W.P., my grandfather, died when my father was just a teenager, so I never got to meet him. That's always felt like a loss to me because it seemed like he was a real character and someone I would have really liked. But in writing When the Whistle Blows, I took all of the stories my father told me about him, and I had the chance to spend some time with him and get to know him in a sense, and that's been pretty satisfying. I've always loved listening to my father's stories. Through them, I always knew how much he loved his own father and his hometown, and how much he loves me, by sharing them.